Hello, welcome back to the channel of Two Wheeled Nonsense. Today's bike is the 2024 KTM 1390 Super Duke Evo. It's an A2 compliant, learner legal city runaround, and in this video we're going to find out how many MPG you can get. Let's go. Now obviously I'm being facetious. This is a 190 horsepower bike. If you believe KTM's slightly too aggressive, trying too hard marketing material, you'd think it's going to rip off your grandmother's leg and peg you with it, but actually, believe me, you can ride this normally without terrifying yourself, and it's one of the most exciting bikes or modes of transport, I think, in the world. But anyway, it has been updated rather heavily for 2024. So we've got new looks. The engine's gone up to 1350cc. There's loads more electronics. It's got no tail light. It's just got the BMW indicators as taillights things, so it loses a point for that already. And the price has gone up as well. So it's an £18,000 bike if you want the Super Duke R with the manually adjustable suspension. This is the Evo with electronic semi-active suspension, and it's £19,600. And yes, being a KTM, you'll want the tech pack to unlock things like, I don't know, the quick shifter, the performance mode, the track mode, the motor slip regulation, the race start, which lowers the back end down when you want to do a launch control, like off of MotoGP, cruise control, other bits and pieces. That's 1,100 quid. So this here is £20,700 of bike, which is a lot, but the Super Duke has always been right at the top of the super naked class. And in this video, we're going to find out if it still belongs there. Let's get on with it. Before I change my mind on that pegging joke, that was a slightly bad taste if your grandma's dead, especially if she died from pegging. I guess we should start with the new headlight. It's a lot lighter than before, and in pictures when this first came out, I think it was more divisive than that time they covered the Berlin Wall in chocolate. Delicious, but slightly not very nice. But yeah, it looks cool in person. I really like it. It looks modern, and it makes the old bike look, well, old. There are some other changes as well that you can't really see from down there, but around the side here, you've actually got wings buried inside the kind of little fairing things here. They're designed to keep the front wheel on the floor. And I'll tell you what, they don't bloody work very well. I've been riding this for a few hours on British B roads, and it doesn't touch the floor very often, which is a shame because it's got Michelin Power GP tyres as standard, and they are stickier than a very sticky thing. They warm up quickly on the road when you're riding fast, and they just feel really, really nice. Now, you've got indicators up here. They're kind of attached to this bar here, which doesn't look particularly nice from when you're riding it, but whatever. It's a Super Duke. It's not about being pretty. It's about going fast. You've still got styleme calipers. This one has still got WP Apex semi-active suspension, which is the latest version. You can adjust it between about 1 million different modes of damping and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, we should probably talk about the chassis and the ergonomics, because, well, if you're going to ride it, you don't want to be feeling like you're sitting on a big spike, do you? Now, I am many things. I'm an ex-Pan 10 model, I'm an ex-Essex boy, but I am also 6'3", and this is what I look like on the Super Duke Evo. 834mm seat height, it's really accessible, it's not too high, it's not too low. You've got a reasonably sized pillion seat as well, which is handy for strapping stuff too if you're going to go touring. You can get soft panniers for it. I think they're about 600-800 quid, something like that. But really for me, it's just got such a nice riding position. You're really over the front end, which is great for when you're accelerating, because you don't feel like you're going to go off the back, and it gives you more front end feel as well. Now for this year, the fuel tank is 1.5 litres bigger. They've made it bigger. Everyone else has made their fuel tank smaller, KTM, get with the times. But anyway, that means you've got 186 miles theoretical tank range now. And it's better shaped for locking your legs in under braking. I've not really noticed a difference because I didn't have a problem with the old one. But yeah, it's a lovely riding position. It is all day comfy, and that's the thing about this bike. It's not been developed from a sports bike like the Street Fighter V4. It is a bespoke, naked thing of wonder. Sorry, I burped. The only thing I would say is you have got this metal tank, but it's got plastic bits around it, and it's a bit scuffed up already, this matte black paintwork. This bike's got less than 600 miles on it. Around the side, it all looks very familiar, Super Dukiness really. You've got a very similar subframe to the Gen 3 bike. The engine looks the same, but it isn't. It's up with a 2mm increase on the bore, so it's now a 1350cc engine. It's not a 1390, that's just more marketing nonsense to make the numbers match. But whatever, I don't care, because it's got 190 horsepower, it's got 145 newton meters of torque, and now it has a shift cam system. I'm not meant to say shift cam because that's BMW, but it's got a shift cam system. It changes the cam profile. I think it's 5,700 RPM, although there's 250 RPM difference between the cylinders, so it doesn't all change in one lump. I can't really feel it change on the road. All I know is it feels stronger everywhere. And was it lacking for power and torque before? No, it wasn't. KTM, you call it the LC8, I think you should just call it the SFE, the silly engine, because it is. It's great, and it's one of the best engines in the whole of the motorbike world. It's just an absolutely phenomenal piece of kit. Right, KTM electronics. I'm going to preface this by saying I owned a KTM for 2 years and it never went wrong electronically. But anyway, before you get those comments in the comments section, let's talk about what it's actually got. It's got some new stuff. So you've got your usual added on riding modes like performance and track, but you can now adjust the level of anti-wheelie between like very low and very high and off. Very high allows for 22.25 degrees of wheelie. That 0.25 is very important when you go, oh my God, it's wheeling. But yeah, you've got the same switch screws before, which I really like. You've got things like your cruise control button up here. New is a USB-C port on the side here, so you can run a sat nav easily on your handlebars if you want to, or charge your phone or whatever. It's just super easy to use, and KTM does this better than anyone else in the business. They show you graphically what's going to happen when you change a setting, whether it's the slide control, the traction control, that kind of stuff. Even the language, it kind of shows you a Union Jack draped Super Duke. But yeah, I really like it. It's really clear, easy to see. It's 5 inches and it's just got everything. There's a lot of stuff you can fiddle with, especially on the Evo model. With the electronic suspension, you can adjust the damping between automatic standard, automatic high, and you can adjust it manually, and so much stuff. I'm not going to bore you with it because what's really important is how this bike rides. Let's go and do that now.
Right, you join me for my first couple of miles on the new 1390 Super Duke Evo, and so far I can tell you it's a more refined bike than ever before. It's not as clattery, it's not as lumpy low down. The previous generation was pretty refined already, but this is smooth, it's civilized. But anyway, I've not actually ridden this very hard yet, so should we just get on with it and go and scare myself a bit? Fucking hell, okay. Yeah, it's still a Super Duke. It's still a Super Duke. Yes, it's already more refined, but also just as bananas as ever before. Look at all this mud on the road, how delightful. We'll be taking it a little bit easy. The riding position hasn't really changed from the previous generation, so you're still very over the front wheel, but I like that. It kind of makes you feel like you're not going to fly off the back when you give it the gas. And yeah, you get your elbows out and you feel actually really connected to the front end, and that was one of the things I loved about the 1290 Super Duke, the 3rd generation, is how connected to the road you felt, and it made it a really compelling fast road bike as well as being a bit of a wheelie monster. And this retains all of that stuff. Now I am on the Evo, so I've got electronic suspension, I've got set it in street standard. Yeah, there we go. And the damping is doing a really good job of ironing out the bumps on this road, because this is quite a bumpy road, and this is making it feel pretty smooth, to be honest. It's letting me get on with the art of hammering down here. Every crest. This already just feels just phenomenal as a road bike, as a B-road blaster. It's still got that classic Super Duke DNA of being able to tear apart a B-road in reasonable comfort as well, the electronic suspension, and the engine power of, well, one of the Titanic's engines, really. It's just such a, yeah, it's not changed really. It's more powerful, it's more torquey, it's more sophisticated, it looks different, but it's still a lovely blend of nutter and a bike that you actually want to ride hard on the road and you're not terrified of, because it's got all the electronics looking after you. Around town, yes, it's a big VU twin, but I'm doing 30 miles an hour in 3rd gear. Look, it pulls. It's got a really nice intake purr as well, so it kind of got this kind of, I don't know, it feels like it's got catarrh and it's trying to clear the gunge off its chest when you kind of get the beans really low down in the rev range. But oh yeah, let's just go again, shall we? Right, I am going to mix it up, so the electronics will let you go into things. I'm in performance mode. That's like the really customizable mode. So I'm going to change my throttle response to track, which is the most direct, and in my opinion that is the way to ride one of these, and that's what I always did on my 1290 Super Adventure, because it just gives you more well, just easy access to the upper echelons of nuttiness. God, it pulls your arms out. Those Brembo Stylemas had the back wheel up there. So yeah, I think it's fair to say braking is a strong point as well on this bike. It's not really got any dynamic flaws to speak of. The grip levels from those Michelin Power GP tyres are giving me massive confidence instantly on a bumpy British B road. The turn-in is a lot faster than my MT10, but that steers like an oil tanker. This just flies into corners, and then you're subconsciously always keeping your foot over the back brake when you accelerate a little bit. Even though it's got the wheelie control. It's just, it finds really good drive, and yeah, if you are brutal with the throttle it will wheelie, but if you wind it on kind of progressively, it just goes, it goes. Don't think that this is a bike that you're not going to be able to accelerate hard on without scaring yourself, because it just, it hooks up and buggers off without doing that all the time if you don't want it to. You tune into the throttle pretty quickly and work out at what point, if you twist it past that, it's going to wheelie like any bike, but it's an intuitive experience. It's not a scary one. Right, put the damping in sport to see what difference that makes. God, the brakes are good. The brakes are one of the standout things for me so far on this bike. Certainly the feel and the stopping power. Now, interestingly, I find with this, I was going to say 1290 engine, this 1350 engine, is that you think you'd run it a really high gear because it's got loads of torque, and obviously you can. But I still find myself riding it in second and third on National Speed Limit Road, because I don't know if it's just life's more exciting that way, but yeah. Oh yeah, the damping in sport is a lot stiffer. That's the nice thing about this bike. It was true of the old one as well though, is that there's a real tangible difference in the damping options as you go up through the Viagra levels of joy. Right, now I'm going to calm down a bit and give this bike a little bit of context. It's naked rivals. Also, you've got the Ducati Street Fighter V4 as a bike that is faster than this. I've always been on the record as saying it's not as fun on the road as this because it doesn't have as much accessible torque, and you've got to be wringing it out, and it just wants to go faster on a racetrack. It's derived from a Panigale. It's not a bred from the ground up super naked like this is. Aprilia 2.0 is getting on a bit. It sounds better than this. It's not as fast as this, and the hooligan aspect of the 2.0 for me is a little bit scary. The way it pops up power wheelies, it's not as predictable as this. And then, as I'm going to mention it, my MT10 SP, which is nowhere near as fast as this, but it makes a better noise, and it still does the wheelie thing. The suspension on that, the connection to the road is not as good as on this Super Duke. The grunt isn't as instant as on this Super Duke. It's a bit more livable. After a while on these Super Dukes, I do find myself just thinking I'm sort of hanging on a little bit. And yeah, the Yamaha's not quite as plasticky feeling as this, but this has better brakes by a country mile and is better in almost every way apart from the noise, really, and for me the insurance costs. I can't insure a KTM at the moment for some reason. But yeah, I'm liking the new dash. It's very clear. It's a bit of an overcast day today, so it's not the best test of it, but that is crystal clear, and you get different rev counters depending on what mode you're in. I love the riding position on this. It's really, you forget about the bike in a way because you're so far over the front. You can see the front tyre down there, or I can. You probably can't see the front tyre down there. And you kind of, the bike is under you, so you just feel like you're flying down the road. It's a bit of a weird sensation, a hard thing to subscribe, and it sounds like I'm being a bit weird, but you are just kind of, yeah, you're kind of at one with the road, knobbing off down the road in a cloud of idiocy. It is a wonderful feeling riding one of these. If you've never ridden one of these, don't be scared. Go and have a go, because yeah, you'll remember what it is like to feel alive briefly. Now, this afternoon I'm getting off this and I'm going to get on the 990 Duke, a new 990 Duke. I've heard people saying that's a better real world bike, and that's why I'm riding this one first, because I want the context of this before I ride the lesser Duke. So yeah, stay tuned. I'll put that video up after this one, so if you're looking at both KTMs, hopefully that'll be useful. Oh fucking hell! I can feel my vertebrae having a little chat with each other. Good lord. Not sure how much of that footage I can use. Right, we're going to try factory start on the Super Duke Evo. Factory start on. Oh, my body's going down. My body's going down. Right, I'm going to be gentle with this. I can't do launch controls, the bike's too new, but... Oh, that's rubbish. That was rubbish because I'm scared. But yeah, you can really feel it sink down when you're fucking hell. What a thing, what a daft conveyance that's utterly usable. Apparently on that factory start you get 3 goes or something, and then if you don't do it after having activated it 3 times, you have to ride like for 500 meters or 5 minutes or something. I'm guessing here that that's because it uses a lot of battery power to lower the suspension and put it back up. But that's pure conjecture on my part. Now, one of the questions I've been asked most about this bike is, does it have enough power to overtake a Hyundai Coupe? Well, no it doesn't. I really struggled to get past there. We are now in the village of Wappenham, and if I were a lady, this KTM would be giving me severe Wappenham. I don't think KTM's going to use that in their marketing material. It's all like, no more bullshit, stop your bullshit, don't be a pussy, buy our fucking bike.
Right, time to sum up my thoughts on the 1390 Super Duke, and they're the same thoughts that I had when I stood on this very spot 3 years ago with the Gen 3 1290 Super Duke. It is a huge amount of fun on the road. It makes you do very naughty things, but it's a great road bike with all of that torque. The riding position is sporty but comfortable. The electronic suspension is just brilliant on our bumpy, crappy British roads. It is one of the most fun motorbikes you can buy. Now, it's not in any way a middleweight naked bike where you can exploit it on the roads. This, you're doing illegal speeds nearly all the time, but you're having a lot of fun doing it. It's very playful though. Low down, it's got the punch that its rivals like the M1000 R from BMW and the Ducati Street Fighter just haven't got, and that is the Super Duke's pièce de résistance. It is resistance? That wasn't very French, was it? But anyway, it's got so much instant torque, it is just firing you out of every corner with a massive grin on your face. Whereas those rivals, you have to ring out a little bit harder to get the same amount of fun, and this is just more fun more of the time than any other naked bike you can buy. It is the king of the super naked class. The upgrades, they're great. It's like the shift cam system, it makes it stronger throughout the rev range, but it was already nutty. The looks, they're divisive. The fuel tank's bigger. That's the big one for me really, because it's even more usable as a touring bike. It's just a great bike. You could have it as your only bike. It's really livable. It's got cruise control. You've got a USB-C port. It's just a really fantastic thing, and it does big wheelies. What's not to like, frankly? And if you don't like doing big wheelies, then it will help you with that new wheelie control. So KTM, I think you might have made my bike of the year. It's always been good. It's now better. It's just a bit expensive. And some people will think it's ugly, but hey, whatever. Anyway, if you found this video entertaining, useful, whatever, give us a like. Please subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more bike reviews coming very soon. Go down to the comments and leave me the Austrian word for, why did we fit a front tyre? That was an awful accent. I apologise to all of you lovely Austrian people in Mattighofen.